I want to take you all the way back to Lincoln City first, before you sort of start making your starting your career out as a professional. What was your footballing journey to get to that moment? What was it like?
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. When I explain this story to people, they're like, nah, this can't be. And yeah, it's just not in the norm at all. So basically, obviously I wasn't born in this country. I moved over here when I was like 9. And yeah, I didn't really play football too much like that. Like I played it a little bit at school. And then I think so just to socialize as well, I joined like a Sunday league club because quite a lot of my friends were there as well. So I joined them and I was playing there, and it was all good. It was just kind of fun and games. And then by the time I was like when I went into college at like 16, 17, I played for my college team, but I was studying sports, like doing a BTEC in sports, and then the sports science. And then I applied for Loughborough as well, Loughborough University. I was about to go there. And yeah, I got scouted by Lincoln City, and it was actually, yeah, it was crazy. And then signed there to the under 18s on a schoolboy scholarship. So I wasn't getting paid. I was the only player not getting paid for them at the time because they didn't have any scholarships left. So signed that, and I was basically a college student still, but just playing football under Lincoln. So it's a bit of a crazy thing. Like you don't really hear much about that. And yeah, I was just able to flourish there and just push through. Then signed for after like just shy of a year, signed for Huddersfield under 23s, and then after that just kicked on and ended up signing for Arsenal.
Amazing. Yeah, no, it's such a competitive environment at that stage. So yeah, it's really like excellent to hear your story on it. When did you first come to know your faith, or first sort of experience, that there is a God and Jesus loves you, that kind of thing?
Well, I've always kind of been around like a Christian background. Like my dad's a pastor and he's always been a pastor since I was born, basically. So I've kind of grew up around that environment already. And yeah, so sometimes you get a bit when you're younger, especially, you kind of think, oh, you're safe because if you come from like a Christian background, especially your dad being a pastor and whatnot, like you don't really have to put much effort into yourself, like into it yourself. And then I kind of realized like when I was around 16, yeah, around 16 is when I really like had a divine intervention. Like God really just touched me, my brother and my sister. And yeah, it was just from that moment on, I just really started taking it a lot more serious. And obviously before that, when I was quite young, I wasn't really too aware of things. But then when kind of got aware of the situation, I really started taking it serious. And that's why I just feel like even in my career, I'm just so grateful because I feel like God has really just pushed me and just taken me to like different levels, you know.
Yeah. And you talk about, your father being a pastor. Did you ever find it, difficult to find faith for yourself? I know you hear lots of stories of pastor kids and um,
Mm.
them finding it quite hard for that. How's that journey for you?
Yeah, it's been good because my dad. I really like my parents because the way they go and approach things, it's not like a forceful thing. And I see a lot of pastors probably try and like engrave into their children, like and just really like just push them. When you push too much, it's just not gonna work out like that. So my parents done the laid back one more. So like, okay, obviously advisors tell us the right thing, tell us about God and stuff like this, but a lot of the time they prayed for us. They really, really spent. My dad told us he spent time praying for us, and yeah, so that's kind of that. I think that made a real big impact, and yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's amazing how you had those early foundations as well. And how does your faith play a part in your everyday life now then?
Yes, it's really big. It's really, really big. More so now than ever. Like, I feel like this is probably the closest I've been to God in like a while because there was a time where like it kind of started fading away. It's like once you get past that phase of being like a baby Christian, that's what I call it. Like, I feel like God kind of just says like, okay, you need to be more like independent, there's going to be more trials and tribulations, if you know what I'm saying. So I think that kind of broke me a little bit because I wasn't used to it. And then now, recent times, I've been really, really, yes, I've just been really spiritually led. And I think it's just like, it's the fact for me right now, I'm getting to the point where I just have to kind of fill my life with Jesus and just like even be around people who believe, have the same beliefs as me, you know, so we can kind of push each other and everything.
Amazing. And also looking at your career, I've seen that you've played abroad in Qatar. Can you just explain what that was like? Obviously, there's a lot of cultural differences within that setting as well.
Yeah, that was yeah, it was a bit it was mad. It was like it was actually a good experience to be honest. And obviously people kind of go there for let's just be real, it's kind of financial reasons. And I just felt like I probably shouldn't have gone there. That's why I cut my time short there and I felt like God really said, okay, this is not where you're meant to be as of now anyway. And yeah, but in terms of like the cultural differences, it is yeah, it's a really, really big difference. But I really respected the country as they don't try and like force any religion sort of things on you, and they're just more like let you do kind of your own thing. And I just really like it as well as a really respectful and peaceful country. But yeah, my time there was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
No, that's really good. Yeah. And throughout your career as well, were there any significant moments where you feel like, you really saw God moving in a certain situation or something that's helped you, overcome a challenge? Because obviously there's a lot of challenges that you might face as a footballer.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I really saw God in my career, and it really moved it, and it just came like a big revelation. It was just when I left Huddersfield and signed for Arsenal, like that, how that happened was crazy. It was like in COVID, it was in COVID times when COVID just started. Literally, Huddersfield has just let me go at this point, and yeah, I'm in a situation. I'm stuck. Like I'm thinking, where am I going to go after this? Like I can't even go on trials to teams because of COVID, blah blah blah. And it was really really worrying. And because I had to come back home, I really liked the fact that that happened because I really spent a lot of time with my family and really prayed about it together and really trusted God. You know, like even when there was no signs, you know, but I still that's what having faith is. Like you have to kind of just walk blindly, if you know what I mean. And yeah, that just kind of changed everything. And then randomly, my agent calls me and says, Arsenal Football Club are interested in you. I was like, huh? Don't really hear that often at all. And the story from that as well, which was insane. The head of recruitment for that, he's just signed there. He signed there recently, just before I ended up joining there. And he's the one that sprung interest in me. I think the rest of them was saying no, not to sign me, but he was really adamant about it. And he said he doesn't even, until this day, he said he doesn't even know why he was just so adamant about it. He really liked me. And I think he came down to speak to my family, and then he told me to literally set up a game. This is so crazy. He told me to set up a game, um, like with my friends. So at this point, that he was just gonna just come watch, and it doesn't sound real. I know. At this point, it's lockdown. I know everyone wants to play football, so I've got in contact with quite a few people. Set up an 11v11 on the park, and we played. He's turned up there with my dad and my agent. Like this is the most insane thing. A few days later, my agent calls me and says, "Arsenal want to offer you a contract," and I was like, "You're joking." And it was like, "No, seriously, Tim. Like I don't know how that this has even happened, but they do." And then at that moment, me and my dad just looked at each other and just said, "Nah, this is God." Like my whole career is kind of led by God because it's not been the norm. Like even the way I started football so late and ended up going to one of the biggest clubs in England so late. Like it just doesn't make sense. So there's only one explanation, and that's God. So that's why God has really, really helped me in my career.
Yeah, that is a really incredible story. And I'm sure very inspiring for, a young footballer who's trying to make their trade as well. Um, we talk to a lot of footballers and we always discuss this idea of having an identity in Christ. Um, Football, I'm guessing, I say I'm guessing, football must take a lot of dedication and a lot of focus to, be successful in and have a career in. Do you feel that it also clashes with, having an identity in football or having an identity in Christ?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've only kind of came to terms with this one now, of just letting go basically, and just because before I think my problem was I used to put football before God, and because you're always taught that like you need to worship football because it's your everyday life, it's what you just do, like it's you're like your identity is like you are a football player more than anything else, if you know what I'm saying. So it's like, and that's just how obviously how our society just worship football players and worship football in general. So it was such a struggle to like come to the terms of having to put God first, and I'll be open to admit that. And I think now recent times I've kind of changed my perspective on that, and now it's just like football like is my passion, but my foundation is like led by Jesus and led by the Christ, you know. So it's just like that's just how I see it now. It's just football for me. If God takes his sport away from me right now, am I gonna just run away from him? No, I'm still gonna be with him now. Before I probably would have said yeah, but now I know like football's not an end goal. Like it's just a job at the end of the day. Like my main focus is trying to get as close relationship with God as possible. And I think a lot of people get this really mixed up. That's why because we allow our football to control our emotions, control our lives, and if you go through a spell of not playing or a spell of injuries, you're just down, and then your whole life just kind of goes up and down. So it's just like people just really, especially the younger generation, just need to be really careful to like just know that let God control your career, and don't be so focused on, oh, I need to play X amount of games and this, that, like the norm for you to push and progress. As long as you put God in the center of it, honestly, he will take you to where like unimaginable places. And that's what I still believe to this day. So my career is not going to be defined by, I need to play X amount of games. I need to do X amount of this and that. Of course, it's my passion. I'm going to try as much as I can. But the rest of it, I'm going to leave the how to God.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And then what I think as well is it can be difficult to deal with the competitive nature of it, especially the ups and downs. So, what advice would you give to a young Christian footballer sort of coming up in terms of dealing with some of these ups and downs we've talked about?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, if I'm talking to myself as well as a young I'm a lot younger than this, I would say just be grateful, be thankful, really be thankful that you can actually get to play football. You can actually get to like play football for God. You can get to actually just go out and kick a ball. There's some people that are in the hospital that would only dream of having to kick a ball, not even talk of professionally, just to kick a ball, you know. So that's the first thing you need to be thankful, and also you need to understand that football isn't life. There's life outside of football. That's why people really need to take time, like especially when you come back home, take time and thinking what other things do you enjoy doing other than football. Do you know what I mean? So to not be so consumed by it, because you allow it to then be like what you're worshipping, and then that's kind of like idolatry, like you're just idolizing the sport, and when it shouldn't be like this. So it even puts a lot of pressure into you, puts a lot of like tension, and you probably won't be able to play as well because you're not playing with freedom, you know. So I think that's kind of the main things, and also with the finances, because obviously this is probably one of the better paying jobs for young people. So yeah, a lot of people, even myself included, has made so many wrong financial decisions, and you just need to have really good people in your corner to actually speak to you and tell you how to kind of manage your money, and don't be so, because with me I wasn't like, I was just kind of ignoring the things around me and just kind of just doing what I wanted to do, and that's literally the wrong way of doing that. You need to like structure yourself and actually just say, this money I'm getting, it's not what I'll be getting the whole of my life, you know. And yeah, just be really really strategic and really clever with like your next moves and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's really good, and I think it's yeah definitely very helpful for young listeners and our young footballers coming up their career, especially moving with Christ as well. It's very inspiring and great to see a good role model like you as well, sort of leading the way and showing us. So, thank you so much for that. And before I let you go, I've got a quick game for you. It's called Career Pass.
Mm.
So what's going to happen? I'm going to read out some teams that this player has played for, and then your job at the end is to guess who the player is. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Team number one. I've stitched you up here. I'm gonna give you a little clue just to get in nice and early. His first team was in 1990.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And they're called Borussia Nettenkretschken.
yeah,
And then he went to Eintracht Frankfurt,
yeah,
and then Fenerbahce,
yeah,
Paris Saint-Germain,
yeah,
Bolton Wanderers,
yeah,
Qatar SC,
yeah,
Hull City,
yeah.
and he went to Durapur Vox Champions, but he never made an appearance. Um, have a guess. Who do we think?
Have I played with this person before?
No, you haven't played with this person. Sorry, I should have started with that.
Oh, okay.
I've got another clue.
Is it Jay-Jay Okocha?
It is Jay-Jay
See,
Okocha.
that's
Yes.
elite ball knowledge right there. Do you know what I'm saying? That's elite
that
ball knowledge.
that is elite.
I think I clocked.
I'll
I
be
think it
worried
was
if you didn't get that one.
the Bolton and the Qatar. I remember JJ played in Qatar because I remember someone in Qatar telling me this as well, and I remember he played for Bolton as well. So elite ball knowledge.
That is. Did you ever watch him as a youngster? Like sort of.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, just even till now, I still click on his highlights, click on his videos because it's just inspiring. Like he just that's the definition of just enjoying the game. You know, just enjoying the
Yeah.
game, no pressure. Unfortunately, the game's not like that anymore. Like it's just more tactical and a lot more structured and stuff. But sometimes I just kind of like to switch off, even watching like videos like him and stuff. You know.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. And before I let you go, two more. Your first ever boots. Do you remember them? Because we are humble boots, so we like to talk about football boots as well. Sometimes, we like to talk about memorabilia boots as well.
Ah, did I wear? Um, I think the first ever one I wore was like these all black Umbros. And yeah, it was. And so my teammates, because when I was playing Sunday League at the time, they were actually laughing at me, but I was like, listen, that's all my friends could afford at the time, innit? So, and they actually took me a long way. I remember that they were actually really good. And then the ones that I really liked when I thought like, oh, okay, cool. I felt like someone is when I got the CR7s, Mercurials, the ankle ones, but they were actually fake. I can't lie. I just didn't tell people that at the time, but they were actually fake. And yeah, I couldn't afford the real pair, so I bought the fake pair. And I remember them. I really treasured them until it lasted me like 4 games and just tore apart. So you pay for what you get, don't you?